Hi my friends, today we are painting this beautiful loose watercolor floral composition just using one layer of paint. So let's get to it. So today I'm going to be using a large brush, at least for now, and I've got my watercolor paper. This is 100% cotton. We're going to be making up a nice little mix. And so I'm going to dip into my yellow. There is some blue on my palette, but that's okay. I'm going to add in some pink, because I'm kind of looking for a nice peachy tone. So let's see, I dipped in some peach, making some peach here. Your yellow and your pink are gonna do a nice job. A little bit extra water. And I do have a paper towel for dipping. I do want to spray this down just a little bit, just to make sure that everything is nice and juicy. And we are going to get ready here. I do want to make sure that it's a very light color. So extra, extra. If you are not sure what to put in, just experiment with some things. I have a lot of paint on my brush. We're just going to make a lovely loose flower over here. So just some really pretty petals and just working quickly. I always tell people, don't worry too much about what I'm doing. You want to worry about what you're doing. I know that probably doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, what does that mean? Of course, you're trying to follow the tutorial that I am making, but I want you to get really absorbed in the composition that you're doing, and then possibly, maybe there is some just intuitive painting that can come out. And if you need to watch this first so that it can help you get inspiration, that's great. That's wonderful. Because sometimes we just need to see something first, and then it helps us to kind of know where we want to go from there. So I'm going to do kind of like this side-facing flower, and I'm doing just these tiny little marks. I want to create this really illusion of really fluffy petals all over here. And then we're just going to do some other petals, kind of the base of this flower poking out here. Just layering, just having so much fun with it. We want to do some lighter petals, and I'm actually going to just take off some of this right here. You can use your paper towel, and we're just going to use that spot to get a little yellow here on our palette. And I want to take this yellow and just start making some blooms that are facing upwards. So we're just going to create these really loose flowers here. I want to do a side facing as well, and I think I'm just going to put them right here. So we're going to have all these petals just kind of fluffed up and starting to point out. This flower has opened a lot. We're just going to put some nice little petal marks here. See how loose this is? It's just very simple, nothing too hard or complicated. I want to do a little bit of a bud, and another one right there as well. And I want to do some gray. Now, when you use gray, if you can use it tastefully, just a little bit, sometimes you can create some really pretty blooms that start to look like, if you just paint around the space, can kind of look like they're white flowers. So too little gray and you won't be able to see it, but I can kind of add in some of those blooms right now, just like so. And then maybe we can just do a little bit of blending here. I'm just going to kind of paint that in. So I can take some clean water and dab it on my brush and just try to kind of blend out some of that color, just a little bit. And we'll add more to that later as we see fit. I think I want to do another one like that. I think that's kind of cute. And maybe we can do like a side facing, and I might actually just start to paint in the petals just like so. Okay, and then we're going to start blending some of that color with our brush here. Just wanted a little bit of that gray and that side-facing bloom. And then I want to add in some more of these large kind of peony flowers. So I'm just going to make these petals a little bit more circular. And I'm doing this really fast. Like I said, I want to go quickly and encourage you guys to try it out as well. But you don't have to paint too fast if it just doesn't feel right. Like I said, you can always, I've said this before, you can watch the video on half-time speed if you want, if that feels like a better speed for you, or just watch it through and paint. Sometimes people like to do that too. So here's that little side-facing bloom. I want to add in some more yellow. So I'm going to grab this cadmium yellow here, really bright, really intense, but really watery. And so we can just start adding in some flower petals, and it's just going to be that forward facing. And then maybe just a little bit in here too. And just kind of see what your composition is doing at this point. I think I want to extend it with a little bit of yellow here. And just simple putting on these petal shapes. Now I want to do a little bit of greenery over here. So I'm going to grab this green that's already on my palette, and I'm just going to make the shape of the brushstroke here and start to go upwards. This is something that we can fill in more with a bit of a stem later. If you want to make them larger, then go for it. And we can add the stem after we're done with this. Might be pretty to do a couple down here. I think I'm going to do one more right here. Just adding in our greenery at this point, keeping it really loose, really pretty, really full of life. And I'm angling my brush because I want to have everything going the same direction. I'm going to take more of this pinky color. I want to add just a little bit more of that color over on this side. Just a little bit here in the corner. And just to balance things out, you can do some yellow here if you want to, just for a few touches of color. What I'm trying to do is figure out how we're gonna do our shapes. And let's just do another one here. This one is about that same peachy color. And just a little bit of fluffiness right there. So I'm gonna take my dagger brush now, and I'm using it is because it has a really thin tip on it. And we're just going to start connecting the foliage to it. And I just love how it's such a nice thin and delicate stem. And I can appreciate that delicatness. There we go. So guys, I always like to check in with you, check in with yourself. How are you doing right now? If you're feeling good, I'm glad to hear it. If you're feeling tense, as I'm connecting some of these flowers with some green, I encourage you just to take a deep breath. Remember to remind yourself, this is our practice. Nothing is supposed to be perfect. In fact, I like to say that perfectionism has no place in art. And I want you to remind yourself of that when your brain starts to trick you and to tell you that you need to do something perfectly, okay? It is a lie, it is false, and our brains are really attuned to the negativity. We like to be hard on ourselves for some reason. I would argue it's probably based on the influences we've had in our lives, our art teachers, maybe not. My art teacher personally was very encouraging and wonderful. And I hope that you've had a similar experience with your art teacher. And if you didn't, it's never too late to start being more encouraging to yourself. So now I want to grab some of our greens. We do have this lovely green already there. I think I can add a little bit of our sap green to it. And I want to start adding in some larger leaves. So I think I'm just going to create these beautiful large leaf shapes, leaving a little white space in the middle. And then we will grab some of that other paint and just start to add on here. So today we are creating leaves and flowers with one layer. You know that I like to do a bunch of layers, 2 or 3 sometimes with my florals. But today we're keeping it really simple, really easy, so that you don't have to stress about it. It's quicker to paint, and, you know, no nonsense, no fuss. We want to be able to do that once in a while and feel like we can get through a painting quickly. It's fun to have the layers and the details, but we don't always need to go there. We can sometimes just be satisfied with a painting that's more on the simplistic side with just one layer. So, something different to try. Curious in comments what you guys think about that. Do you guys like doing one simple layer like this, or do you like to do 2 or 3? Let me know in comments what your preference is. I live in a place where there's lots of airplanes going by, and so if you ever see in my videos, it looks like I'm about to paint and then my hands disappear. It's just because I had to stop the camera so that I can not have the plane sound of the plane flying by in the footage, because I'm trying to do this in real time. Oftentimes I do voiceovers, and that just, you know, saves me, that I don't have to worry about the plane sounds. I just do it later, but it's definitely easier if I can do this now. It saves time just to paint live and speak live as well. So anyway, I am going to start mixing up some of this teal color. It's pretty intense, but if you add some pink or red to it, it's going to tone it down. And that is actually kind of a cute color happening. It's very dark, but it's going to add a little bit more contrast to what we've already created. So I'm just going ahead to start filling in some of the spaces that we need to fill in so that things look like they're a bit tighter. You can always paint your blooms in a way that you're not going to have that issue. Sometimes I start with them just a little bit farther apart than I would like, and then I just go back in and add in some more foliage and greenery later. So I am resisting this temptation to want to add in a lot more layers on the top. Like, it's really, my brain is wanting to do it, but I know that that's not the purpose of this. You know, I told you we were just gonna do one layer and just kind of go with it, but you know, my brain is like, oh no, this is what I want to do. So anyway, we're gonna keep this simple. What we want to do though next is do our middles, and so I'm going to grab my liner brush, which is right here. This little guy has actually been sitting in paint. This is reality, people. Sometimes I forget to wash a brush. It happens. It's not the end of the world, but it's not the best practice either. So anyway, you do the best you can. I'm just going to activate this brown paint here, and we're going to dip in. We're just going to do a little bit of a kind of a peony middle, whether this is a peony or not, or a poppy. You know, I know it's not a poppy, but sometimes I don't worry too much about the type of flower. I just want to put brush strokes on paper and enjoy myself. And so therapist talk, once again, I always like to encourage you guys, just be very kind to yourself and think about the ways in which you also care for yourself. That's one way to be kind, when you remind yourself that there is no place for perfectionism in your journey of watercolor or art, creating anything. And so I would ask you, you know, what is another way that you take care of yourself? I'm gonna actually take my liner brush and we're gonna dip into some green. Guys, we're almost done with this. This has been a really fun experience so far. I'm just gonna blob on for a center. And this one too, don't wanna forget this guy. A little bit more in the center and some dots all around. And then I'm gonna take my liner here and spread out this paint on this yellow guy. I think he's gonna look cute with all this happening here. So self-care can be painting, it can be going on a walk, it can be doing exercises, it can be spending time with your kids or significant other or your pets and friends, and just being interested in taking space to do a healthy activity. It can be cooking, it can be eating what you cook afterwards. Absolutely, I like that part. But just being aware of what is it that really makes you feel like you are caring for yourself, because only you can care for yourself in the way that you can help you to give back. to the other people in your life and to have energy to do all those things that you have to get done. We're so busy, we're so full of activities, and we don't often take the time to slow down, to be in the present moment, and to do things that will make us rejuvenated and energetic and happy. And sometimes just sitting down with a cup of tea or coffee in the morning, just to have some prayer time or some think time, reflection, even going on a walk with tea in my hand. I love doing that. I have to walk pretty slow when I do the tea, but yeah, just being able to find those times to do those things. If you guys are enjoying this video, which we're almost done with, definitely give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't, so that you don't miss out on videos in the future. I did dip into my paint right here. So I'm just gonna add another leaf, voila. And yeah, hit the little notification button so you don't miss out on any of my videos in the future. And I have to say too that if you're wanting to take your watercolor journey to another level, guys, I teach watercolor on Patreon. And so if you're not there, it's a private community where we can chat and share our art. You get exclusive tutorials. You can get, depending on what you sign up for, art prints, and you can get live stream access with me. Once a month, we live stream together. You can get these beautiful exclusive tutorials not seen anywhere else. And it's just a great way to be able to support me as an artist as well. I appreciate all that and for your consideration. You can check the link in the description of the video for further information. All the things. All right, guys. So we're going to let this be at this point. I think I am going to cheat just a little bit because I wanted to add a little more green where things just kind of smudged up because of the how much water was there, and it just spread. If you didn't get these ends right here so that you can make sure there's a base that your flower is attached to. I think I'm liking this one layer. It took us a lot less time and it just made my day to paint with you guys today. Boop. Thank you for being here, and I will see you guys on the next video. Take care.